It's the Vegas Toy SquadCast, starring Vegas Toy Squad.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us. Welcome to the Vegas Toy Squad SquadCast. We are at episode 9. Getting close to that anniversary episode.
Which is what,
10? Double digits, man. Once you hit double digits.
A year?
What's
the anniversary?
What's the 10th anniversary thing? Is it like paper or something? Everybody's going to have to send us paper.
It's like a Wookiee breed.
Okay.
I'll
take, hey, if it's for the vintage figure, I'll take it.
Yeah, especially for your
I have a
logo.
couple. Yep.
Alright, anyway, you guys, if you don't know us, my name is Rick.
I'm Frank.
I'm Rob, and we have our special guest, second timer
Yeah.
here,
That's right.
Nate, joining us again.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
And not to be forgotten,
There we go.
Thank you.
the delightful Patty,
Hello,
Alright.
everybody.
running the show from behind the scenes, behind the curtain.
There you go.
And I have a
Special curtain.
special proclamation to make for this, since this is our first.
Oh.
There you
That
go.
was Rick.
That was
That
really
was not a
impressive.
sound effect truck.
You must have
Wow.
That was actually Rick. Wow.
Wow, for the listeners, that was genuine.
Since Nate is
It was
appearing,
organic.
this is our first two-timer, second-timer guest.
Oh, I don't know if we should
Nate,
say two-timer.
Gets an
A
official
two-timer?
Vegas Toy Squad
Nice.
Wretched Hive magnet.
That is very nice.
That's
Ooh.
for me.
Those are
Yeah.
awesome.
There's a limited quantity.
Yeah, very limited
is.
quantity of those available. And it's
Nice.
also a good opportunity to say that this image that you see behind us, we're all looking at green, but that image is called Wretched Hive, and it's available
At
well, you can pick it up at Grouchy John's if
Grouchy
you happen
John's
by
Coffee
there.
if you're over there.
Or you can message us and you can get one of
I got
those.
free coffee out of this.
I didn't get free coffee.
No.
It's free coffee every time.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you for being our.
I'm in.
Did you bring a battle axe? Because that would have earned you something
Oh
extra.
man, we
special.
had a
Oh my gosh,
we
yeah.
had a
Speaking of which-
2-episode run with the battle.
How'd you know? I thought
I brought
stuck
a
it in.
battle axe, but she's behind the scenes, so
Thank you.
Fair enough. At
Yeah.
least there's
Yeah.
one
she,
here.
good shot.
You
So,
can add that.
Shots fired. Okay,
So
Rob
there's
shot
lots of-
first.
All
lots
right.
to talk about.
You
Oh,
shot first?
Rob shot first.
There you go.
gee, based on the jokes, people might be able to figure out what we're talking about today. But before we get to that, what are you guys excited about this week?
I got something.
I think that's how
As
this.
usual.
I think that's how
As
this
usual,
always
as
starts.
usual.
Frank always says,
Well,
"I got something."
I just became an uncle again today.
Oh, yay!
Mark and Rebecca had their baby.
Baby
Congratulations.
squad.
Nice.
Baby squad.
A new Padawan.
Yes. So that's pretty exciting.
That's
You know what
awesome.
they get? A magnet. That can be purchased at Grouchy John.
Grouchy John's.
What?
Nathan.
I thought. Oh.
Wait a minute.
Frank, what did they name the baby?
Evelyn Rose.
Oh, that's
cute.
pretty neat.
Yeah.
Very
It's
sweet.
very cute.
Beautiful.
So that
But
makes
hardly nerdy.
Yeah, what does that have to do with toy? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I gotta buy a lot of them because
Oh, that's
I
true.
got 10 nieces and nephews now.
I know. Oh, damn! Another birthday party.
There goes
Another
Frank.
another reason.
Anytime we want to hang out with Frank, it's like, oh, kid, I got a birthday party. So,
Well,
oh man.
I got a lot of family members.
Well, it's a good thing you're on the SquadCast then. We get to see you on Tuesdays.
Very nice.
Unless there's a
Unless there's a birthday
birthday
party,
Unless there's a birthday party.
which I'm technically missing one today.
Oh,
Wow. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're here with us, and that's what matters.
right there, right there.
Oh, bear claw.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
or Swift Heart, whatever you want to call it.
It's Swift Art. All right, moving on.
So is that-
Is that it? That's your big news? You don't have anything else you're excited about?
I'm excited that I found my Watchmen, my copy of the Watchmen that I wanted to read.
Oh,
I thought
alright.
I thought I had loaned it out, and it was tucked away in a box that I found, and I was really excited to
Very
start
cool.
reading it again. I'm excited.
The latest issue of Doomsday Clock came out, which is the kind of the sequel to Watchmen, and it's
Yep.
putting the Watchmen into the same universe with DC Universe. So it's
Wow.
kind of cool.
Is that
kind of a cool
exciting?
thing.
It is exciting.
It is
It
exciting.
is exciting. It's
It
kind
is
of been
exciting
separate
us
for
a while.
for decades.
Mhm. So,
So-
it's kind of neat to see those characters interact with
Pulled
each
in
other.
there. It's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Is that it? Is that all you got?
No, I got other stuff.
I'm sure he's got
I
a lot more.
I got other stuff. What about you?
That sounds like a challenge.
Who's got
I got stuff.
I got stuff, man.
I got stuff, bro.
I got stuff,
more
bro.
exciting?
What you got?
What does Nate have stuff? You got anything?
No, celebrated my 35th birthday.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
I made it this one.
I needed this
Blood applause for
There you go.
Ninja.
So, are you the youngest person in the room?
That would be true.
Yes, probably.
Wow.
Aww.
That would be true.
Look at that.
It's normally
Yeah,
me,
just
but
a
not by
baby.
much.
Too funny.
That's
Well,
okay.
that is exciting.
Did you
That
get
is-
anything good for your birthday? Aside from beers?
Yeah. No, not really. Nothing yet.
Alright,
Nothing.
alright.
We'll find something. There's got to be
You got a
something
bag?
around
I
here.
say, in this room, I'm sure I could find something that I'd be happy to take off your hands. Thanks. You're such a good friend. Take anything? All right.
You're not into that sideshow, are you?
Yes.
Yeah. Too funny.
So what you got, Rick?
Let's see. Finally got the thing.
Sweet.
So saw him, or was looking for him at
Thing.
Walgreens, and I had to order him online because the Walgreens app said that there was 4 in the store.
Not true.
No bueno.
Not true.
No bueno. They even looked in the back for me.
Those employees,
I know. Probably they were saving it.
probably.
But got the thing, and then Rob was able to find one as well, so now I got one boxed and
In the
unboxed.
package.
I went
Look
to
at that.
a Walgreens and they had
Check
probably
out his
10 of
package.
them.
2 things.
They had what?
They had 10 of them.
Oh, that's what. Yeah, online it seems like they're all over.
Yeah.
Unlike
In
Silver
one
Surfer, which was
Right.
package.
But yeah, it's a killer.
yeah, it is
I
cool.
made sure I picked a very nice package.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
You
it.
are a good
Excuse
package
me?
hunter.
We need another little drum.
I'm just moving
moving
on.
right past.
And Rob also found the Magic exclusive at Walgreens, so I got that.
Also a beautiful package.
So that's good.
It's a very nice package.
Very
She has
nice.
a cool
It's a-
little dragon.
If you guys don't remember, Chris mentioned that character last week in our.
I had no idea when
Oh,
I
that's
saw it.
true.
I was just like, I saw they had 2 boxes of unopened toys on a cart.
Pallet or whatever.
Yeah, and then I saw Hasbro, and I said, "Can you open those for me?" And the guy opened them up, and they were both boxes all her.
Oh, wow.
That's a
So
lot
she's
of her.
probably not going to be hard to find then, I would assume.
I guess not. That's why I was
Yeah.
wondering if maybe they're kind of changing their strategy a little bit and not making them, maybe sending the store.
I
Unless I
doubt
just,
it.
it
I
just
doubt it.
It's
happened to
weird
get
because,
lucky.
well, like, they had a Medusa she's from the Inhumans, and they had an exclusive of her, and she was everywhere.
Yeah.
She's on clearance now, and you can
Yeah,
get her
yeah,
wherever.
she's, yeah.
But yeah, some of the other ones, they didn't make too many of them. I don't
Hmm.
know. I don't understand the strategy. Don't
Either
understand
way,
the strategy.
That's a great figure.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool. It's super cool. So the other thing I was going to briefly mention was some of the new comics that are coming out. That was exciting this week. So my man Wolverine is back in action.
Oh,
In
snap.
case you didn't know, Wolverine has been
MIA.
He died.
he died a while ago.
Hey,
from the
so-
Marvel
Oh,
series.
he's
Spoiler
back.
alert.
They
Come
killed
on.
him. Yeah.
Logan.
So
Hey, don't matter. He's
Another
back.
spoiler alert.
He's back.
all the X-Men die and come back. So it's
So this is genuinely
routine
him brought back?
So he's brought back. Yep. So this was the first issue. So obviously the story is just starting. So I'm interested to see where they go with this and see exactly how they bring him back. And because of course he's different than when he was before. So
Well, could you
we'll see how that
not
goes.
be?
So is
But
he
so far it's a good story.
nicer?
No, he of course the whole amnesia thing again.
Roses come out
I
instead
don't know
of
who I am.
Who am I?
Yeah, who am I?
Yeah, flowers.
flowers come
Who
out.
am I?
Let's make peace.
In case.
The last issue of Poe Dameron came out this past week.
Ooh.
So this was cool because this whole last story arc was set right after the Battle of Crate. And they were all just in the Millennium Falcon, just kind of talking and BSing. And then he was reminiscing about past missions that Black Squadron took on because of what Leia wanted them to do. So it fills in a lot of little pieces, and it makes the story of the new movies make a lot more sense. So if you're looking for something to make those stories
If you want to make sense of those
sense,
movies, read the comic
I'll
book.
just
read the Poe Dameron
I'll pick
book.
up the trade.
It was a good one. And then I haven't read these yet, but I'm excited because I brought these because the thing's coming back.
They're back.
So Fantastic Four is back now as well. When the Fantastic Four movie tanked, the Marvel kind of
Both of them. Oh,
they
all three
kind
of them?
of
Every
They said-
single one.
Every
They
single
said-
one of them.
They said, "Hey, Fox,
Yeah, they kind of let
choking you out."
the Fantastic Four book kind of slide, and Fantastic Four wasn't published for a while. And now that they've made that deal with Fox and Fantastic Four is coming back, they have brought the Fantastic Four back into the Marvel U.
That's the first two issues.
I was
That's the
really
first two
crazy about
issues,
that.
yeah.
Cool cover art.
They're gonna
Yeah,
link
it was
them
really
into.
cool.
You think they're gonna link them into a more like
For the
known
MCU?
comic? More.
Yeah, I think they're going to bring them into the MCU.
Okay.
For sure.
But
Them
not-
and X-Men, for sure.
Probably not its only movie. Not like start off with a movie.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would
Because
think you'd
they're
have to almost introduce in another.
in another
popular-
movie. Yeah, that would
popular
be
movie.
probably a wise
Yeah.
thing for them to do, and then hook them in from that way. And then for those of you that collect books, so at the end of the month you get previews if you have like a box at the store, and it tells you what's coming out. So this is everything that's going to be coming out in December. So there's a few things that I wanted to highlight. As far as Star Wars goes, they are starting a new series of comics called The Age of the Old Republic. Is that right?
Hey, did we-
Age of Republic.
Did we
Okay.
touch on whether or not that we are doing a Star Wars episode?
Not yet, man. Not yet. We're getting there. We're getting there.
I'm just,
Slow the roll, bro.
I'm just.
We're still on the.
Did I miss
We're
it?
still on the.
Excuse me.
I got one.
Don't you have an issue with spoilers?
I know, and I just spoiled
Dude.
it. I just spoiled
Oh
something.
man. So with this Age of the Republic, what they're doing is they're highlighting specific characters from each of the movies. So they're
Oh,
all
I
going to
see.
get their own book. So you got a Qui-Gon book and Darth Maul coming out in December. Obi-Wan, Jango Fett. I know, but you gotta have the backstory.
What?
Anakin,
Django.
Count Dooku in February, and you got Padme and
That'd
Grievous
be a
in
hot
March.
seller.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but the Qui-Gon and the Darth Maul one should be pretty good.
I thought when you said Age of Republic, I thought we were talking like something I heard they were going way back in time.
Yeah, I thought so too when I saw this, but to me that's not really Age of Republic. But I don't know. It's
'Cause
interesting to see what they do with it.
If you remember, for over 1,000 generations, the Jedi Knights were the guardians of peace and justice.
Oh, now you bust out the Star Wars
Now you
knowledge?
bust out the
I mean, you know, before the dark times.
before the Dark Times.
Before
Ooh,
the
it just
Empire.
got real nerdy
Man.
up in here.
Yeah.
So I thought they were going way back to some
Sorry.
of those.
Yeah,
you know,
I
that
thought
would
so
be
too.
cool.
That would have been
That was
cool.
solid.
That would have been cool. But we'll see what they do with it. The last issue of Lando Calrissian came out, and that tells you why the Millennium Falcon was locked up in the Solo movie.
Oh, nice.
So,
Oh,
so if you want to know why,
Wait.
when you remember when he goes to get the Millennium Falcon and it's locked up, and he's like, "Oh, how did that happen? I need to talk to someone."
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So it tells you why that happened. The other cool thing about Marvel coming out in December, January is another Fantastic Four. The Thing is finally going to get married.
Finally.
Well,
God,
we'll
we
see.
have all been
We'll
waiting
see.
for
I
this.
know.
I was hoping it'd show up in the movies and
These
never
two have been, it's been such a tease for so long.
It has been. It has been for decades.
Okay.
Decades.
You should get him a little suit.
Finally.
Oh yeah, a little
You know
suit
what?
thing.
I can kind of relate to the thing. People,
Yeah.
people have been talking about that for decades.
For decades,
too.
yeah, I know, yeah, see?
Like looking
I'll get you
Laura.
a special edition of
Oh,
that.
thanks.
And then last little bit, Miles Morales, Spider-Man is coming back. If you don't know who Miles Morales is,
I don't.
he is a Spider-Man from, they started him in Ultimate Spider-Man a while ago, but he's gained a ton of popularity. There's a new Spider-Man movie coming out, that's an animated movie that's coming out soon, that will highlight Miles Morales. A lot of people like him just because of his ethnicity. He is Hispanic and half African-American, so that's kind of cool to see, you know, a mainstream Marvel character.
Diversity and
Into the universe?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Can you tell me
Yeah,
the,
into
Yes,
the, into
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
Into the
Spider-Verse.
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 as somebody who's not up on Mr. Morales, how does he fit in? I mean, where
He got bit by a radioactive spider.
Where's Peter Parker?
In a
Peter Parker's kind of like his mentor. So they are friends, and, you know, Miles constantly questions whether or not he's good enough to
How does he get the
take
powers?
on.
To be a
How does he
Spider-Man.
get the powers?
I don't remember
Well,
how
I
he
mean, he
specifically
probably
gets
gets
powers.
bit.
I don't
or
have that.
Another
yeah.
radioactive
Maybe we'll come
spider
down
with
is
a
flying.
long
I think it was.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, I have to go because it was so
It's
long
just you
ago.
two
I
listening.
don't remember.
Somebody
You can
can
listen.
comment and say.
Yeah, exactly. Someone
It
can
is
comment and let us
Spider-Man.
know.
You guys got to
Yeah.
quit having these background chats.
We're gonna have to separate the two in the middle.
So that's about all I got for this week.
Well, that
so.
was quite a mouthful.
All right, well-
Now, there's
All right,
barely
thank you,
time
Richard.
for my exciting stuff.
Robert, tell us.
Oh, nothing. Forget it. Did anybody watch SNL, the premiere? None of you cats?
I didn't.
I did not. I missed it.
It was a good one. Are you guys not into Saturday Night Live?
I am, but sometimes I just forget to watch it, and I'm usually out and about.
Yeah, I haven't. I mean,
At
not
birthday
since
parties.
Eddie Murphy.
I would say the 90s.
It's been a while.
Is it
It's been a while.
appropriate?
Gotta get me in the hot tub.
90s.
Is it appropriate for a nerdy podcast?
Hey, why not?
All right.
Just a few,
Yeah.
Because we enjoyed it. It was actually a pretty good
Who's the
episode.
host?
Well, coincidentally, it was Kylo Ren.
Oh.
So yes,
Driver,
Adam
right.
Driver
Was
was,
it-
the host.
Confident
Second time
Kylo or whiny Kylo?
It was confident
Oh,
Kylo.
nice. So
And
no
he
shirt.
he didn't do anything shirtless.
You're going to go watch it
I
now.
don't think so.
No,
Yeah.
but he was actually pretty funny. He did some weird stuff, and he was good.
Yeah.
The thing I liked the least was his opening monologue, but that's always written for them unless they're a comic, and that was eh. But the rest of the stuff he did was pretty good.
Yeah, he's good on that show.
I was
Adam
disappointed
Driver,
they
yeah,
didn't
he's-
do a Star
Yeah,
Wars
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
spin-off,
Right.
but
Nothing.
Yeah.
What about musical guests?
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Uh-oh.
Kanye.
Oh.
It was Kanye.
I did read
Seriously?
about it. I didn't
Did
watch
he-
it.
You
I read
read
it.
about
Did he
it.
shoot the whoop the whoop?
No.
He did
you
not
were
poop
so
the scoop.
bummed out.
And I
Poop the
swear
scoop.
I was
Because that's such a phenomenal
waiting
piece
with
of music.
bated breath
Oh.
Yeah. That's,
for this
Amazing.
scoopity poopity.
He performed 3 times,
Yeah.
which
Oh, how
is
exciting.
not
None of them were
typical.
scoopity-poopy.
No.
It's usually, the musical guest has 2 shots,
Yeah,
He
they
got
gave him that
3,
at the end too
but
for a
no
third song.
did he have to redeem himself or something? Is that why they gave him 3? 'Cause
His
the
first
2 were
song
Oh my
was
God.
I don't even know how
I wrote
to describe
where is it?
it.
Hold
We made
on.
notes.
Remember,
Freaky
Oh, you did?
girl.
He wore a
Freaky girl, I love it. And he was a pickle.
What?
Was he a pickle?
He was,
Like-
was he, or was he just
Like
like a...
Pickle Rick? Like from Rick and
he
Morty.
was in a
Pickle Rick?
full
I don't know
I can't
that.
even remember.
Eva
I wish
would.
I
That would be
He was
funny.
in a pickle suit.
Hey.
He was
maybe.
he and another
All right,
person,
Pickle Kanye.
another person on
Dude.
stage were wearing outrageous big costumes and performed the worst. Well, there are
Hold
probably,
on. There's
there are probably
some,
Kanye fans out
There's
there.
probably 1 or 2 Kanye
I-
fans out there.
I would
that might watch our show.
I
If you
listened
are,
to-
sorry.
yeah.
I'd listen to Scoopity Poop 100 times before I
On repeat.
listened to this song again.
Really?
Yeah, it was
Watching
terrible.
my dog.
And then actually the second song I sort of liked until the end.
Yeah, because I even said this could probably be on the radio and get some airplay. And then there was just like
And then
a
for the last
3-minute
it wasn't
narration.
quite that long, but like for the last minute and a
Oh.
half of the song, Kanye and the other performer just stood there and they played like a recording.
Like a recording? Oh.
Like, what? You're not even performing.
I'm sorry. I'm old school. Give me LL and...
That's right,
So-
yes.
So yeah, that was
Little
that was
Beastie
interesting.
Boys. You know.
Yeah,
Some Fresh Prince.
but
Hey,
overall,
this is a story.
Wow.
you know,
All
SNL
about-
is one of those. Can we stay on my
I
topic here,
can't
please?
listen. Sorry.
SNL has been like a long journey. You know, what I
This
mean?
is its
a lot,
43rd
lot of ups and
year.
downs, and
That's for sure.
you know, but we've kind of stayed consistent fans through. You know,
That's good. I mean, there's a lot of people, though. I mean, that's a pretty big following.
and it's actually at a pretty good point right now.
Is it? All right.
They've got a pretty good cast, I think.
They had some
Some
really
funny
funny
people.
skits that had us
Yeah.
tearing up. So
So.
I read an article about Chevy Chase, and he is not a fan
I read the
of where
same
SNL went.
no,
Oh, really?
They had him on for the reunion show,
Yeah.
35th, I think.
I think the 40th. I think he
40th.
did
What
the
is the
40th.
40th?
I think it's 40th.
And
Yeah.
he basically went off saying how it's a piece of doo-doo and
Yeah.
you guys aren't funny anymore. You're taking comedy
Oh,
here,
'cause
and here.
his last movies have been...
Well,
Yeah,
Hilarious.
Chevy
He was
Chase
gone.
ain't the-
He's gone kind of
Hey,
crazy.
soft spot
article
for
wants to talk
Chevy.
about. We
Yeah,
can't-
I know you
Yeah.
love Chevy, but
Nobody
Yeah.
will hire him.
No.
too.
Nobody does a pratfall like Chevy.
So,
Look, Big Ben, Parliament.
see, classic.
so all right. Well, so
So
enough
that-
about SNL.
And so,
No?
what else? Is there anything else you're excited about?
Well, I wasn't excited about SNL.
Well, I mean,
I just
excited
thought we
to,
should
like,
discuss
just
it
talk
because it
about
was a nerd.
It's topical.
Well, Walking Dead starts Sunday.
Ooh.
I'm
You
excited
guys
about
excited
that.
about
I
that?
forgot it was coming
That
out
could be
this soon.
exciting.
excited.
Yeah, it snuck up, which is cool because Game of Thrones got postponed for a long time. So.
Like 6 years, it seems. I was
So-
gonna forget about it.
And then a couple things that are just going on around town. I
Yeah,
want to
there
throw
you
a
go.
couple shout outs to actually tomorrow, not tomorrow, but when this airs tomorrow, Saturday, is it the 6th?
October 6th.
October 6th at Big Bang Toys.
Mhm.
They're having a signing with Bill Moseley and Sid Haig,
Nice.
2 horror icons. So, if you're into horror and you're in Vegas,
Check them out.
those cats will be there Saturday 12 to noon doing a signing and doing some pictures
Very
and
nice.
whatnot. So we're heading down that way.
Oh, very nice. You
Yeah.
guys
What
going
are-
Saturday?
Doing what?
You're going there Saturday?
Yes.
Sarah? Oh.
Yeah.
Early. We'll go
Yeah.
early.
What would some of the things that maybe some people would recognize them from?
All the Rob
Recognize?
Zombie movies.
Okay.
Sid Haig has been around for years and years.
Sid
I mean,
Haig
they
did
both.
Spider Baby. Wasn't he in Spider Baby from the 60s? Let me
Maybe
hold
Spider
on.
Baby.
We'll put Patricia on the job.
Sid
From the
Haig
Spider-Verse?
has been
Yeah, maybe.
making movies. In fact, hold on, let me pull up. He has 152 acting credits on IMDb.
Nice.
Sid Haig. If I go way back, I know he was doing black and white movies. Yeah, look, 1960, he was on The Fugitive. That's not really that interesting. And then
What are some of the bigger things that people would know?
I'm looking. Oh, horror movies. Bloodbath in 1966. Oh, he did 2 episodes of Batman. Yo. He did a Star Trek.
Adam
Spider Baby, 1967.
Wow, you know your Spider-Man.
That is a very weird old horror movie.
Okay.
If you're interested.
I thought it was in the Spider-Verse.
No.
That one hasn't come out yet.
This
Alright,
is the
how
origin
about
story
modern-
of Spider-Man.
Modern
Okay,
movies,
I'm
people.
going now. I'm scrolling. It's a kid
What
talking
were the
about
zombie movies?
Big Doll House. I know that may be an
House of a Thousand
exploitation.
Corpses.
Yeah, that's okay.
Diamonds
We
Forever,
did,
Remember the Birdcage.
Halloween
Hold
movies.
on, I'm still looking. Beware the
Halloween.
Blob. Oh, he was in Wonder Women, 1973. I don't know what that is.
The Blob.
Black Mama, White Mama. Shaft. He made the rounds.
Nice.
There's a lot of stuff, and then he's
So
done a lot of
Saturday.
80s,
I'm
90s.
waiting for you to get to the modern stuff people
I know.
recognize.
We'll edit.
They're ready
We'll
to
cut
move
this.
on.
Spider Babies.
Kill Bill, House of the
Just-
Dead,
House of the Dead,
Night
right.
of the Living Dead in 3D, The Dead
there we go.
Calling, Haunted Casino, Halloween in 2007,
Is that the Rob
Brotherhood
Zombie
of
one?
Blood,
Must be.
Yeah, that's
yes,
gotta be.
Thirsty, Haunted E,
All
Dark
right, what
Moon
about Bill
Rising.
Moseley? How about Bill Moseley? Real quick.
Jesus. Lords of Salem.
Okay.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Bill Moseley. We'll edit. Bill
Got it.
Moseley.
Huh?
Who's Bill Moseley?
That's what we're
find
trying
out.
to find out. He's
Oh,
an
okay.
actor. Tall dude, right?
Yes.
Is he gonna be there too?
He's going to be
Yeah.
there too. That's what I'm
Repo.
saying.
Oh, okay.
He's got
I missed that part.
123 credits.
Repo.
He was in Repo, the Genetic,
Genetic
Opera, Death House,
Oh, we should take him our copy to sign.
Gingerbread. Oh my God, we should.
Wow. Never heard of
Smothered.
the movie. They have a copy.
The Horde.
Go all the way to the
Possession.
2000s.
These are the 2000s.
Oh,
Oh,
Night of the Living Dead, Darkest
go.
That's
Origins.
2000?
Yeah, that was
they've redone that
2015.
They
movie
redone it.
that's
30 times.
Devil Dogs, Disciples. These
All right.
are all 2000.
So, anyways,
All right.
horror icons at
Perfect.
Big Bang
There you go.
Saturday.
Awesome.
Go check them out.
Texas
I did see
Chainsaw.
one
Right.
other cool thing.
Well, while we're doing shout outs, so did you want to give your shout outs to our other friends and their events?
I don't have that information
Okay.
in front of me.
So, another toy store here in town that we frequent is Rogue Toys.
Roig Toes?
Rogue Toys. All right, so they got several locations here in Vegas, and they've got some events coming up as well on October 13th.
We don't get free toys or discounts or sponsorship from any of these people. We're just cool guys who want to give a shout out to our
Not
friends.
yet.
Yeah, no, someday you'll pay to be on the show.
Anyway, they have a toy swap coming up October 13th at Rogue Toys West, their West location, which is a fun event if you've never been to it. We've been to that several times.
Been part of it.
And then October 20th, they have a Toy and Comic Fest at Rogue Toys in Henderson. So those two events are
Which is
coming
another
up.
kind of a swap
kind of
thing.
like a swap meet kind of thing.
So
Yeah.
people set up tables and sell their toys.
Sell their stuff.
Yeah.
You can get tables. You can go on their website and you can
Yeah,
find
yeah.
information for tables and
We've done
all
it.
that kind of stuff. It was
Yeah,
fun.
it's
Yeah.
fun.
It
Yep.
was fun.
It was fun. I sold my Marvel Legends there.
That's right. Now you're just.
So now you're buying them again?
I know. Yeah, but these are the Hasbro ones. I got rid of the Toy Biz ones.
Got rid of the biz.
All right, what were you gonna say, Frank?
I actually one of our watcher or viewers out there. He sent me a text. What was it? He sent me a message and he said that RoboCop is being not re-released, but there's an X-rated version of it. Not
Wait,
that
the
kind.
Peter
It's
Weller
the violent
version
one, yes.
or the newer
Yes, no, the
Right.
Peter Weller's one that was not allowed and released in theaters is on Amazon Prime. Not like it's not like a sexual one.
Oh,
It's just
alright, I
it's
thought-
the more violent
I'm like,
version that was
This
too
ain't that
violent
kind
for.
of show, Frank.
I know that. I know
Listen.
that. I'm not saying that. I was just saying like there's a more violent like extended cut of it that I thought was like really neat. I was like that. I want to see how it meets up to today's standards. Like what
That movie
made
was
it
violent.
like.
Violent
It
already.
was super violent, but I mean, look at the stuff we watch today, like
Oh,
The
yeah.
Walking Dead and
Yeah.
like Game of Thrones and stuff. And how did the X
It
rated
wasn't-
like back in the day like rate up to that stuff now?
Yeah.
I
It
see.
wasn't.
Gotta be
It
like
wasn't
something.
Glenn violent.
No,
Oh,
no, nothing.
It's still
no-
too soon.
I
So
think it'll always
Get
be
queasy
too soon.
back.
that's available on Amazon Prime. Is that what you're saying? Is
It's
that...
on Amazon Prime. Yeah, I mean it's free to watch.
Oh,
but
cool.
If you have Amazon.
I'll see.
if you have Amazon Prime,
I'll
but
look it up right now.
it looked
The
pretty cool. I was
uncut
like, yeah, yes. They said I don't know if it was the uncut. It was just the version that was not released in theaters. They didn't say if it was the director's cut. They didn't say it was uncut. It was the X-rated NC-17 rated version.
Yeah,
So.
when you think of X-rated,
I know. It comes out wrong, but
I don't think anybody wants to see that RoboCop.
I wanted to get more into the article
Murphy.
that I read, and it was
I'm intrigued.
like I said, I was curious after I read it, and so I thought that was really cool
We
this
love
week. That was something
RoboCop.
I'd forgotten to.
That was one of my
start bringing
favorites
up in
growing up.
movies.
It's great.
Yeah, me too.
Watched it all the time.
Did anybody hear the news about Toys R Us possibly reorganizing and relaunching?
Yeah,
I saw that.
but
Really?
and I'm sure it's probably something new, but that came out almost right before they closed.
I did hear that. Then
One of the
too,
original
yeah.
presidents or whatever that was president of the company during its heyday was getting
Was gonna buy it or something.
and he was
Yeah.
getting his old execs together to try and rebrand it and reopen it.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, that was
I think
information from the internet, so who knows how
Yeah.
they could do
how
more
true
of
that
a
was.
pop culture type store. I think with more. I mean, because you guys went into Toys R Us anytime, like when it was open, it was kind of a disaster at times. So
You mean
Right.
Like
into the
after
store
they- after they
itself.
said-
No, even
Yeah.
like just like I don't know. Some of the stuff they had wasn't.
well, it's hard
I don't
to.
know.
I always wondered how a store like that could stay in business where they have 40 of everything on the shelves. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, they got to buy in such huge, they'd have to sell in such huge quantities to,
Yeah.
they just have to make better, probably, merchandising
Well, I
decisions.
mean, the prices were always higher.
Well,
than
and the prices too. Yeah,
Even the
that's the
Legos
thing.
were
It's
more
like
than.
Oh, especially they're like I never
People are-
Lego there.
people are
They
not
could.
willing
Never.
to spend retail even, or
Uh-huh.
let alone above retail for stuff anymore.
Right,
You know?
because
You
it
can
was
go to Amazon
exclusive.
and have it in your mailbox in 2 days or on your doorstep for cheaper. You have to be competitive.
Well, I don't know if you guys knew this, but I went on their website a few times to buy from them.
Toys R
Like,
Us.
and I tried several times when they had their deals. I was like, yes. Their website was a nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
It was it was not user friendly at all.
Mm.
And I would call people up, nobody would answer. It was an absolute wreck.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was a huge downfall for them. They lost out, I'm sure, on millions of dollars that way.
Just on you.
Probably yeah, me.
And Legos.
Millions?
Yeah, all my millions of dollars.
You need to become better friends.
Yeah.
That's the type of money you're throwing around.
Should we get into our topic?
Probably.
I think it's-
Probably.
What is it?
I think it's
It's
time.
been
I
killing
think it's
me.
past time. I think we're.
Frank, what was it? It was killing
What
me.
are we talking about? Then?
Oh boy.
All right, guys,
Well, this is
don't cross streams.
That's Ghostbusters.
that's the
Wrong genre.
wrong. Mine is
I
much
feel
duller than yours.
so nerdy.
Nerdiest
All
I
right.
think we got yet.
So if you can't figure out, we are talking about. That's kind of weird.
You're crossing streams, boys.
That's too
We are
much.
going to be talking about Star Wars today.
Don't tell anybody.
They're gonna
The
all see
whole
it.
franchise, the whole kit and caboodle.
We're talking Star
We're
Wars.
talking Star Wars at least for a while.
think
Let's
it
start this
started it all.
conversation off with what is it about Star Wars that we love so much? What is it? I mean, it's kind of the thing that brought Vegas Toy Squad together.
Oh my god.
You know, Frank, I don't really see a difference between the mask and what you normally
That's a
look
good
like.
point, Nate. That's a good
If you're
point.
listening,
Yeah,
Frank,
Frank is donning
has
a
the
Chewbacca.
Has
famous
the Chewbacca,
mask.
yep, the Target Chewbacca mask.
It's all about the Wookiee.
The Wookiee. The Wookiee.
There you go.
Isn't that
But
a
you're
Bloodhound
right.
Gang
This
song?
was the topic that kind of
This was the
united
kinda
this
that-
friendship.
It is. So this is how we kind of started doing our toy hunts together and heading out to different places around Vegas. And so, what is it about Star Wars that is so endearing to all of us?
Would it be the same without the first 3 movies? Like if they had started with Attack of the Clones,
I don't know. I think that's a different question.
Yeah, I thought he was going for the meaning what it means to us.
Go away.
I was just exploring the question even
I would
deeper.
love to explore that question
Well, you
deeper.
can,
but
you can talk about that later, but I mean,
for me as
I
a
don't
kid,
know.
it was the feeling of wonderment, like what else is out there, exploration, and then being by yourself, but being able to depend on your friends and stuff to actually take on these horrible situations. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. Not to mention, I mean, come on. Then you had lasers and swords, laser swords, if we will.
Did you get to see? Now let's clarify when I'm talking about the first movie, I'm talking about the original episode.
And New
Episode
Hope.
4.
New
All
Hope.
right, so we're talking about New Hope. So were you able to see the first movie in theaters?
I was in a theater
Being as young as you are.
as a 1 year. Yeah, because I was a 1-year-old.
Exactly.
And
so
my
you didn't
parents
get to-
took me to the theater, an empty theater pretty much, because it was out for almost a year. Because I was born in 1978, it came out in '77, but I mean, like, it was still out in theaters because it was still so popular, and they took me to go see it when I was that young. Not that I remember that much, but like, I mean, but obviously it made an impression because I kept going back to it, like even as when I came. When the
Even
second
as like
movie
a
came out,
6-month-old,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
like
yeah,
a
you know,
1-year-old.
Imprinted on his heart.
I
You
guess
know,
so.
and it was still, like I said, it was still on theaters. You know,
Mhm.
their dollar theater version of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Aw.
So I mean,
That's cool.
been pretty much a fan for life. So
What about you, Nate?
Oh, jeez, I was not even born before any of them came out. The originals anyway.
Any of them?
The originals. I was born '83, so the last one came out in what,
83.
May of
Yeah,
'83.
83.
And I was a September baby.
Oh
so.
my God, that's right.
So when I went to the theater when I was 1, there was literally nobody in there. It was like 7 years later. So like, you know, no. Basically, I have 2 older brothers, and they were 5 years older. So I tend to kind of go into things faster as a child. So, you know, getting into those movies and whatnot, early age because of my brothers. I used to watch them all the time. They had all the figures, and I'd always steal them from them. And I wish I would have actually kept them, but that didn't happen. But I think the characters were a big part of my childhood, especially the toys. They kind of just having such cool characters. I mean, you got, you know, Boba Fett, who was your favorite. I mean, but just the way he looked and not even being a big part of the actual
Right.
trilogy.
Right.
Actually, not at all in the first one, I don't even think.
Not till later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, exactly when they put him in.
Add 'em in.
I think that was a big part of it. And it kind of explains, I mean, I got tattoos of Star Wars and,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
you know, and it's more the character faces and whatnot, because I think that's kind of more what I've geared myself to as a kid. And then,
yeah.
you know, watching them over and over the years and all that good stuff. So.
Yeah. I was 10.
You were prime age then.
I was, yeah,
I
I'm
was
old.
prime
That's
age.
Giving my age away.
Man,
Yeah.
look at you.
Oh, well, that's the thing is, like, you know, for a kid growing up in Las Vegas in the 1970s, there wasn't really anything to do here. There was nothing, so, you know, I wasn't into sports. So I was 9 when Star Wars hit the theaters, and it was like, you know, opened up new worlds. I took my first step into a larger world.
Oh.
Uh,
Oh man.
But I remember even before the movie came out, I don't remember my first time sitting in the theater and watching it, but I remember sitting at home watching like the Mike Douglas show. You guys, I don't know if you even know who Mike Douglas is. Wow, these guys are young. So it was a talk show back in the day, and I'd watch the Mike Douglas show, and you know, they'd have the stars on and show a little clip from the movie, and I remember just being awestruck watching these, you know.
Yeah.
They showed the scene where after they escaped the Death Star, when they're fighting off the TIE fighters, and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I mean, I hadn't seen the movie yet, I was 9 years old, and
Yeah,
it was,
cool.
it was mind-blowing.
Yeah.
You know.
I think
Spoilers.
that's one of the scenes.
Yeah.
That's the end of the movie.
That's one of the scenes that was so etched in my mind too, from the commercials and things like that. Was
Yeah.
Luke in that firing
spinning
cockpit,
around in that
spinning around
seat,
with that
yeah.
thing, and it's like, that's cool. I want one of those. That's
Exactly,
awesome.
yeah.
Being such ahead of its time.
Oh
and,
yeah.
and everything. I mean, could you look at like the last Starfighter came out around the same time?
Was it? Maybe
Well, the last
maybe-
Starfighter was
or
like
maybe
80.
some.
Yeah.
But
Maybe
even then, like,
yeah, same type.
But,
of,
like,
yeah,
even that coming out so much later,
Mhm.
and then the graphics in that, you're like, what the?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like you
that's,
just
that's
came
a
from
really good point.
this,
Yeah.
and then you downgraded to this.
Yeah.
You know, so
I mean, you can't deny how much Star Wars revolutionized the movie making industry. Just, whether you like the movie
every
or not,
facet,
the
right.
techniques that they used in the movie was just,
Movies
No,
and
like I said.
franchising.
yeah.
Franchising, too.
Franchising too, because
Yeah.
holy cow.
and you could tell every episode. So 4, 5, and 6, like Vader got better like gear.
Oh, yeah.
If you look close,
you
like
know, yeah,
when the
his armor
HD came
changed
out.
each time.
When the HD came out and you're watching New Hope and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Like staring, you can see all the imperfections in the outfit.
yeah.
And as you watch on, you're like, oh look, they actually got more fun.
Yeah,
now.
more-
That's nice.
Well, the Empire got more money, and
Yep.
he went in for upgrades.
He
Yep.
did.
I like to think I'm like taking the Vader route, getting shinier by the.
And he had, remember, he had like the real red.
Yeah, they had like
eyes
red
in the
lenses.
first,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I remember that reddish brown
First,
lenses.
You can almost see through, like in the original one, you can almost see through. It's actually
Mhm.
See
Cool,
Dave
so,
Prowse
yeah.
there.
That's very cool. What about the toys? What is it about the toys? I remember going into the toy store and just seeing from the floor to the ceiling just packed with action figures and the land speeder and the TIE fighter and the X-wing. All that stuff was just. You
Yeah.
said once it was one of those movies where once you left, like the first thing you wanted to do was just go to the toy store immediately and be like, all right, I need all these characters.
Oh yeah.
Well, this doesn't really have to do with toys, but like,
I had that book. That book is amazing.
when you leave the theater, like you're talking about, this was the only way I have the Star Wars storybook. This is one of my first, Star Wars kind of collectibles, or one of my first and most valuable memories from that time, because it was a way to actually go back and recreate the movie.
Right.
To see the thing, because back in those days, I mean, obviously that was all you had, unless they did have that one little reel thing where you could pop in a cassette and watch a scene.
that. Yep.
But I mean,
And then
with
Viewmasters.
yeah,
They had some Viewmaster
like
ones.
chiseling things at the time too for you.
yeah, we didn't
How
have
far
all the
back we going
fancy,
here?
we didn't have all the fancy buttons and
And
gadgets
chisel
like you
each
could.
scene. Hold on.
No, seriously, like, you left the theater, you went home, and that was it until you went back,
Back to the theater.
back to the theater again, or once it left the theater, you were just done.
Yeah.
So you had, luckily they put out a
They brought it
magazine, or you could go to the 7-Eleven and get a pack of bubblegum cards, and that had pictures on
Yeah.
it. But that was the only way to relive a movie back then.
The Burger King glasses.
Yeah.
Did you have
and
those?
The
Yeah.
posters. They had
Yeah.
posters that came with them. I mean, talking about merchandising,
Yeah, it was ridiculous even back then.
yeah, you could get.
It's oversaturated now.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
Yeah.
they
Now it's
mass
everything.
produce so much toy.
Yeah.
Yes and no, because you can get it in the media. You can get it in the medium that you want. Like, I mean, look at the difference between
That's
just
true.
these two alone. Like, I got these cute little Mighty Mugs, and then you got the giant renditions of the old figures of.
Right. These
Like, I
are
think
my
it's just-
vintage figures.
Do you
from-
still have the battle plans in R2?
Oh crap! I don't know. Let's find out.
Buttons on the front.
I forgot.
There you go. Still remember.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Look at you. You got both of them.
Cow.
Both
What?
battle plans.
Nice.
That was one of my favorite things about that R2 was the battle plans in the back.
Oh my gosh.
Holy
Head still
cow.
clicks.
There you go.
Careful.
I wanted
Oh.
I wanted Darth Vader, but I got the
The
droids.
person
But
that
that's
will
good.
open them up breaks it on another podcast.
But look at how iconic those two are.
Oh
It
yeah.
is.
And actually,
Still
not
today.
coincidentally, look at that.
Look at that.
Oh, all right. So again, if you're listening, Robert's got the figures and the book next to each other, and it's just like the exact same scene.
Yeah.
The storybook, yeah. So, anyways, that's my child. And then here's my scrapbook.
Oh.
It's gonna be so boring just to listen to this one. You gotta get see the video.
Yeah,
I
you
made
gotta
this.
check it out.
This is what I made when I was a youth.
Oh, look at that.
This is
But
adorable.
boy, anytime there was you had to do this. Do kids
Well, yeah,
make
but-
scrapbooks now?
Well,
they
no,
make
they've
Pinterest.
got Instagram
They make
and
Right.
Snapchat.
Anytime there was something in the newspaper
This was your
or a
Instagram.
magazine, yeah, this was
your Instagram. Look at that.
This is analog Instagram.
Nice.
you
These
go.
are all your friends on your friends page.
Oh, look at
for-
Tarkin.
And then you've got
For magazine. You know what? This is gonna make some people mad who are watching this. These are all like
those
This-
are the
Oh, that's
this
a
is a
boy
card.
this is a 12 back
That's
card.
a 12
yeah.
back card you just that you cut apart.
If only, and this is like a card from
Yeah.
Cocoa Puffs or something.
Oh,
but
that's
yeah,
awesome.
I've got like
But
I have
again, you didn't know.
I have a
Back
Darth
in
Yeah, how
Vader-
could you possibly
70s,
know?
80s.
No.
Darth
Oh,
Vader
no,
12 back.
fall off.
Yeah.
That's
Anyways,
cool.
yeah.
No, it's garbage.
So it's fun to listen to this without seeing it. But this is all my every newspaper clipping and anything that had anything to do with Star Wars. I cut it out,
That's
Anything.
very cool.
paste it. Yeah, I mean,
Oh, Snaggletooth.
there's the Greedo card back.
Oh, look at it.
Snaggletooth card back.
There's the things that you can send away for a free figure
Yeah.
from Kenner.
That
Those
is.
little blue and white circles on the back.
That's just
For,
so adorable.
Star Wars puzzle,
Should we send
Land
a
Speeder,
see what happens?
and the Give a Show projector.
There you go.
What did we get?
And these I think these are the Wonder Bread cards.
Oh,
They have these.
with the stickers.
Yeah. So, anyways,
This.
stroll down memory lane.
That was cool.
Perfect
that's
for
really
our
awesome.
musical interlude. But
Patty,
yeah, it's
can
all
you get him
fun.
the tissues? I think I see
Well,
some
and
tears
he
coming.
has more than just that.
Oh yeah.
He's got several.
When I have a Empire Strikes Back one
Yeah,
and a
and
Battlestar Galactica, but that's
Did you have
another.
a Jedi one or no?
Nah, by the time Jedi hit, I was in my teens.
Oh, okay. So you
It's
weren't.
too cool.
See, man, I
This is
regret
too
it.
cool for
It
Star
didn't
Wars.
matter when I went crazy for all three of those movies.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. There was just something.
Yeah.
I love the speeder bikes.
Oh, yeah.
Return of the Jedi.
Not that I didn't love the movie.
Right,
I
but
just,
just not as-
I wasn't collecting. I wasn't as
Right.
I wasn't playing with the
Well,
toys.
yeah, I stopped getting the toys too. And I
That
wish I would've.
teenager.
You were 16 when Jedi came out.
Is that what we decided?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do the math.
Yes.
I wish I would have
83,
kept collecting though, because that's when those,
Carry the one.
the Power of the Force with the coins,
With the
came
coins,
out.
yeah. Those
And that was
were-
the first one with Luke and Han as stormtroopers.
Yeah, and they had those.
Oh,
Every KB
I had
had
them all.
those.
I had them all. I'm sorry, my mom and dad. We moved
You had
from
them all.
Arkansas to Ohio, and my mom sold all my GI Joes, all my He-Man, and we just
We had
start. She says, "We'll buy you new toys," and
We had all
we
the
got to
same.
get rid of everything. And
wow,
We
man,
moved around.
I had
too
to
much
start
keep
over,
them,
so-
you'd be a toy mogul right now.
hey,
if you, had
you
all
know
that
what?
Stuff.
I doubt they're worth very much because I played with those.
I know,
so
yeah,
know
that's
I-
a-
you know, all know I'm the out of the box guy, so
That's
So
what
everybody
we're talking
was
to.
back then.
You know, just
I couldn't.
yours are still in great shape though.
Wait, my what?
Your figs,
The ones that you have.
the ones that you have, your
Out of the
vintage
box?
figures. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're still in really good
Yeah,
shape.
and I played with them a lot.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
crazy.
When I was.
You were just a
10.
careful player.
I guess so.
I guess so.
Someday this will be valuable. So.
But I remember saying that when I was a kid. Like people would make fun of, like, "Oh, what do you have all your toys for?" It's like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna have a lot of money when I'm older." But
Yeah. Really?
I was launching
Yeah,
them
I
on
remember
like
saying that,
rockets and
Oh yeah, we'd set
That
them up
was-
and shoot them with
Must
BB
have
guns.
been-
oh, see, we didn't do
change
that.
out the bottoms like of the GI Joes because they were the rubber
Oh
bands.
well, yeah,
You'd
that
switch
because
all
then you can switch them around. Yeah,
There's-
you could
Oh,
take them
that's
apart
kinda
and put them
cool.
back
Yeah.
together.
I had
Yeah.
whole battle scenes with fireworks and everything.
Yeah.
I didn't-
yeah.
Well, I used to. Did you ever
mess
like
around at all.
when I had them? Like certain days, I would be like, "All right, I'm only going to play with like the Cantina creatures today," and then I would just take all the creatures out and
Yeah.
do something
Yeah.
silly with that.
Yeah.
Or, I'm going to do the droids today. Or
Yeah,
something.
Yeah, you
I
have-
had
you have a
those.
theme.
Yeah, you have a theme for your play that day.
I don't have time to play with all of them today. I can't
Exactly.
Can't make this epic storyline. We just need the droids to go
Yeah.
on some adventure right now.
just give me the Jedi's. We're going out to the river.
This is a 22-minute episode.
So the cantina, it's with the new Disney park.
Yes.
Coming out?
Yeah. Yeah.
The cantina is going to be now the first place you can buy beer in
Yeah.
in
Beer and alcohol.
Disneyland.
Oh, really?
That's right.
Wow.
You can buy it in
So, you can
California.
buy in California Adventure.
Aside from Epcot, yeah.
Are they
yeah.
gonna? I wonder if they're gonna have like actual droids, and some guy say, "We don't serve their kind here."
I wouldn't
That
doubt
would
it. I
that
don't
would
go
be
behind them.
that would probably be a really great.
So yeah,
thing for
I was
them to
just
do.
there, and I went on the Star Wars, Star
Mhm.
Wars,
Star Wars. Yeah.
and they've changed it again because I think they change every so often. But
Mhm.
this one, it ends with you landing back at what the park's going to look like.
Oh wow.
So it's kind of cool. So you
Oh,
land,
Oh, that's cool.
and it's what the new park's going to look like. So it's
Oh,
kind of cool.
Oh,
that
that's
they feel like you're
fantastic.
landing back to
Already
where you
It
started.
just
transitioning.
stinks though because oh my god, when that opens, and then once they open Marvel
Marvel
Land,
Land.
Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna have
It's
to
like
go to
money's
Disney.
gone.
Like
Marvel Land is gonna be.
they're doing that after they do all the.
They're
Star
doing
Wars
it now.
stuff, Yeah.
The Bugland in California is shut
Oh,
down.
good.
Oh, is it?
It's not even
That
open
was
anymore.
a waste of space.
Oh,
So
man,
it's going to be in
Bugland.
it's going to be there, and it says Stark Industries on all the signs.
Oh, does it?
So it's kind of cool when you walk around. It says
Oh,
Stark
that's
Industries.
cool.
It was
That'd be
perfect
neat.
for the little kids.
Yeah, Maddie liked mine.
Disneyland's not for
My
kids
kids
anymore.
cry
It's for
more
adults.
at
Exactly.
Bugland than anywhere else.
Why?
Because they went to that bug show and the
Dropping
things,
the D word
creepy crawlers on your
right
bum.
today.
Oh yeah.
Freaked them
Yeah.
out.
And they put-
Big
you go to
spiders come out.
The
And you
movie
get
and
poked.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
6 things
I
you
didn't
laugh.
like
The only
that.
one my kids cried at was in Bugland.
That's
so.
like me on
Get rid of
Indiana
it.
Jones when the dark
They didn't go on
Oh.
haunted house.
or Little
They went
Bugs.
on everything this time, which
They
was
went on a
cool.
haunted house and
Wow.
didn't cry?
No, they're good now.
Holy cow.
That was the first one we took them.
Well, that's going to be exciting. though, on
Yeah.
Star
That
Wars.
is going to be
Yes,
cool.
that'll
It'll
be
be
really
impossible to get into.
Probably.
Yes, I
Let's
agree.
think
Probably.
positive.
I take reservations.
I
And
positively think it's going to be a
Although-
answer.
If you would like VTS to podcast straight from
Oh.
Disney World or
We could do that.
Disneyland for the
We do.
opening of Star
I'm
Wars,
sure they'll send us.
please contact
requests.
Patricia and we'll be more than
Yeah.
happy to
Yeah.
come there.
Again, we don't get anything free from
Well,
these sponsors that we're going out.
But we're
Just
just
not
saying.
yet.
What do you
We'll
mean
do
we?
some free
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just a
advertising.
guest.
Hey, he's the second time.
Second
though.
Second
He's
timer.
Second time.
It's honorary.
See? Second timer.
Yeah.
He's a card carrying.
There you go.
He's a card
So
carrying
yeah,
member.
I have
Oh
to
my
make sure I
gosh.
don't forget that.
So, do you know much about the Disney thing? Like, you're gonna be involved in the story.
I've read a lot into
The
it,
only way
think
for
so.
them to do that is for them to have you wear a band.
which creeps me
You know what I mean? Which
Oh,
does
is-
kind of creep me out.
Is that what they're? Oh, really?
Because Disney's
keeps
all
track of
about they
your
have these
behavior.
magic bands where you can
Right.
put your money on, you can track your kid in the park,
Oh, wow.
and so the only way for them to track you through the Star Wars area and for them
Mm-hmm.
when you encounter somebody for
A
them to know
character.
who you are and what's going on,
Yeah, is
it's for them to have a GPS, RFID, all that stuff in
Oh, wow.
not implanted in your wrist like the mark of the
Not
beast,
yet.
but
Not yet. Not yet.
So
Yeah.
this is like Westworld.
That got dark.
I'm just
really quick.
that's just a prediction. I don't know that for sure. But how
going
else are they
pretty
going
I
to?
still have both those seasons on.
Yeah, I have no idea how
because
that's
they-
gonna work.
They said that's
On
going to
Brady
be.
No
Watch.
spoilers. We're good.
What did I say, gentlemen? What did I say about the?
We said we were talking the same thing. You jumped in over the Westworld thing. Just saying. I'm
There
sorry.
are
If I have to scold you again, I'm turning this podcast
I'm
around.
turning this podcast around and taking you home.
This is Nate's second and final appearance. Thank you. It's been fun.
Give me that magnet.
He's gonna revoke the card.
Oh
Your
man,
card has been revoked.
your
Speaking of
credentials are
cards
Ooh, what
and
is
credentials, was anybody a member of the Star Wars fan club?
revoked. Oh, look at you.
I was.
Man,
This is the very first issue of the Star Wars fan club newsletter,
Jorge Lucas right at the top.
which later became Bantha Tracks. You heard of Bantha Tracks?
For a bantha fodder.
Yes.
Okay.
Bantha Poodoo. So yeah. Anyways, this is
That's
Nice.
pretty cool.
it has a cool concept art
Mm-hmm.
back when it was called the Star Wars. This was a sticker. I still have this sticker. I think it's in my scrapbook, so it's worthless now. But and then it became Bantha Tracks, and God, it's all quiet. This is like
Hi, we're
Look,
curious.
we're looking.
I've never seen this.
look who
Oh,
shows up.
Help us.
Boba
The
Fett.
Fetster.
So this is
What issue? What year? What date?
Bantha Tracks, Volume 2, Number 1. This is when they first. There's an interview with Irvin Kershner in it,
Mm-hmm.
and we had seen Boba Fett in the holiday special. Those of us who
Right.
got to see the holiday
Yes.
special,
Mm-hmm.
but
Have it.
yeah, well, everybody does, but that's all right.
No.
You can get another magnet after the show.
This is my last one.
So, but after that, it was like
Clobberin' time.
that was it. So, anyways, when Bantha Tracks came, the newsletter, I opened it up and there was a picture of Boba Fett, and it goes through and it shows all of his
Armor?
explains what everything is, like his camel view and finder. That's what number 4 is. They call it a camel view and finder. So I guess he's looking for a lot of camels.
Camels on Tatooine.
On, yeah, or
Oh no,
wherever.
because he's
On
higher up.
Ma-
When you
on
sit on a
Mandalore.
camel, you're higher up and can see further.
So, anyways.
Ah.
So it's like a
Those are
telescope.
pretty cool, though. I'm surprised you don't have that like
Periscope.
framed or something. Maybe. Yeah.
So wait, explain camel.
I said when you're sitting on a camel, you're higher up, so you see further. So it's like a periscope.
You're making
That's a
crap up.
conjecture and an opinion.
Yeah.
Hey, well, you got a better explanation?
No.
I
Look
didn't
it
think
up.
so.
I didn't know there were intergalactic camels.
Well, he said, didn't he ride a camel in that
He did
Thing?
ride there
In
was
the
some kind of a
animated
creature.
special?
in the
that-
animated
was a-
special? He
animated
rode like
special.
It
the
was a
camel
hump
looking thing.
Yeah, it was
That's
a
what I'm saying. So I'm thinking
particular
like
creature.
had something to do with that.
Since you brought up Fett,
All right.
let's move on to favorites.
We're talking Fett.
For you.
Let's do favorite characters first,
All right.
then. Obviously.
Let's do it.
Go ahead.
Well, Rob, what's your favorite character?
Favorite character in a lie. 30 seconds. Go.
Boba Fett because he is cool.
He's a hit with the ladies.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I was what, 11,
Yeah.
12 when I first saw the guy, and he was, Darth Vader was the thing before that, and the stormtroopers and those, those costumes, that helmet and all that stuff was cool. But Boba Fett had a mystery about him.
Right.
This was back before people knew who he was. I mean, now kids are born and they see Boba Fett and they,
Yeah, they know.
But back in the day when you had seen Star Wars and you heard a rumor about a Star Wars 2
character,
and you see pictures of this guy, it was cool.
Yep.
So I just gravitated to that.
Nate, favorite character?
I'd say now it's, Vader. 7 years ago I did have twins, boy-girl twins. So I feel like, hey, that's kind of me.
Like,
You feel a kinship.
Yeah.
kinship with old Annie.
An Anna kinship.
Yes.
So
Person, my name's Anakin.
And that's why I said
you
Darth
an angel?
Vader. I am not Anakin. For that reason.
Oh my God.
We said we weren't going there.
Oh, Annie.
you
I
identify
said
then
we will
with,
get there.
with Vader.
the evil
because-
guy.
But he struggled, He was his,
He does.
With
He
Anakin.
was redeemed.
Yeah.
Was he eventually?
Yeah.
He was,
Sort of.
Yeah, the Ewoks celebrated him. He was there with all the other people.
His ghost.
Yeah.
His ghost was there.
In the
They forgot all about the whole slaughter of the younglings thing when he showed back
Exactly,
up. And they're
yeah.
like, hey, welcome back.
Good job.
All is forgotten.
All
So he
forgotten.
literally killed millions of people with their... You're good.
Welcome to the
I'm
club.
glad you made up with your kid. You're fine.
Frank, your
Um,
faves?
When I was younger, it was always Luke. Luke. But then the older I got, it's Obi-Wan all the way. Like
Yeah.
Ah.
I love Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think he's just such a cool character. Ravishing, handsome.
Well, Ewan McGregor.
Which Obi-Wan do you like better?
I like the second Obi-Wan, the older Obi-Wan. I like
Alec Guinness.
I like Alec Guinness better, but I'm just excited for the Obi-Wan movie too, just to see was he just messing around on Tatooine? Like I read the Obi-Wan novel that came out, and it wasn't riveting. It was just kind of like he's just putzing around on Tatooine. But is the movie gonna be anywhere close to what? Hopefully he goes on other adventures and be like,
Nope.
you know what, Luke's okay. I want to be right back. Just shoots off on some.
Him sitting in a rocking chair.
Yeah, just like
Heading to
2.5
Tashi Station.
hours.
Yeah, like the bugs come out, he pulls out his thing, zapping bugs.
Hey, why not?
But I don't know. For some reason, I have just gravitated towards Obi-Wan all the way, and I don't know. Over the years, I'd love to hear some of the adventures before Episode 1, what he did before there was some kind of prophecy that they went babbling on about for the rest of the time. I wanted to see what he was as a young dude. How did he get into the Jedi? How did he get discovered and stuff like that? I always think about stuff like that. I don't know.
Did you watch the Clone Wars?
I did. I watched all of them, and I'm a little torn on it. It felt like a lot of the stuff was just filler episodes. They told me nothing in C-3PO and R2-D2, but then here's a droid episode, and here's a Padme episode. You're why? I don't know. I liked it, but I didn't. I didn't feel that it was all necessary. I felt like the movies explained it more than enough.
Yeah.
I didn't need to see more. For me, anyway.
Gotcha. How about you, Rick?
I have two. Sorry.
You're entitled.
Chewie, obviously. I love
Yes.
I've always fallen in love with Chewbacca. I just thought he was just a cool, even though he doesn't say anything. So
He's a squatch.
yes, but he's I
Very
always
squatchy.
fan of Chewbacca, and then Mace Windu.
Yeah.
I'm a big Mace Windu fan. Say what you want about those prequel movies, but they gave me some of my favorite.
I don't
some
think
of
you
my
want us
favorite
to say
characters. That's why I have my Mace lightsaber.
I know.
I just wish he would have got a little more Samuel Jackson with his
That's
character.
what I always say.
That would have been hilarious.
That's why I think I didn't like. That's why I think I didn't like his character, because I want him to say, "Feel the force." I want him to go full Sam
You want
Jackson.
full Sam Jackson.
That's what I expected the whole time, and No.
I think because I am such a big Samuel Jackson fan, but I like that character. And then they came out with the Mace Windu miniseries for the comics, with a story with him and Kit Fisto. No, not Kit Fisto. That's He-Man.
He-Man.
Yeah, who's the dude with the dreadlocks?
That's Kid Fisto.
Is that him?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Oh,
The other one, his
okay.
name's just Fisto.
His name is just Fisto. Oh my gosh!
I
All
was
right.
gonna say,
Not
So
just
anyway,
Fisto. It is.
Fist.
it is just that's a whole nother episode.
Yeah.
Easy, Fisto.
But
Watch
it's
it.
a team up between the two of them, and it was really good.
Sure.
It was a really good story. So, but yeah, Chewbacca for sure is always he's probably my top, and then Mace is my second top as far as characters go.
All right. Well, how about movies? Let's go movies. Let's go favorite movies.
Do you have a favorite character?
Oh yeah, Patty.
Well, Leia, I think for sure.
Yeah.
I like Salacious Crumb because he's just so creepy. I mean, I didn't know
at the same time.
I didn't know I was going to be on the spot. And Wicket,
I like the Muppets.
you know, I like the Muppets a lot.
Anything with a hand up in it, I'm all over.
Nub.
The Muppets, you know, there's just something about those little characters. But of course, Leia. Leia was the whole movie. That was what drew me in.
Is Leia's? Well, I guess the twins are the central characters of the,
I would.
the whole.
But like I said
Enchilada.
last week, the cool thing about the comic is it is really showing how essential she is to building the rebellion.
Yeah.
Like, and something I forgot to mention, the last issue that came out, first time you get to see Han Solo, at least that I know of. Someone will probably correct me, but the
Naked.
first time. No. The first time you see Han Solo pilot an X-wing. So Luke is not the only one with some X-wing skills. That's all I'm saying about that.
Well, last episode we talked about
I
Bandai.
thought we were going to mention.
We weren't going to mention that.
Oh, sorry.
I heard.
You'll have to reference it.
All right, let's go back to what did you say? Favorite movies.
Favorite movies.
What was
I
your
wanna go-
favorite
I
of
wanna
the
go favorite
franchise
movies.
of the franchise.
Well, it's hard to beat the very first, episode 4.
But you do.
The very first movie, episode 4.
But you do have a favorite.
If I had to choose one of the 17 or however many movies there are now, I would pick Empire Strikes Back. I think Irvin Kershner did a great job directing it. I think the mood of the movie is just, kind of dark and edgy. Love the scenes with the bounty hunters. It just, I thought it was the coolest and darkest of the original trilogy, at least, and the one I resonated most with.
That's
Agreed.
mine too.
Mine too.
I would
I think I
have to say.
tied them. So yeah.
Unanimously, Empire?
I would
What
have to say
about
now. Yes.
for
but
Rick too?
Yeah, that would be my top. Like if I had to pick one, that would be my top, and then my second would be Rogue One. But
I'm with him on that.
Yeah.
I'm with him on that
I'm the
because
same. I
That-
like how it tied it
Yeah,
that movie
together. and
blew
made
me
it-
away. That movie
It
just
did
like
look
I was
great.
not ready for it.
And I love the characters in there. I thought they were.
Yeah.
And it's like again, I hate to keep bringing back the comic book, but in this last story arc in the comic book, they reference Rogue One so much, and they reference Jyn Erso,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and it's just it's really cool. But yeah, that would be my second one.
Do you have a second pick, Robert? Looking at the entire series?
Well, second, I'd probably pick the first, A New Hope.
Really? So you're keeping it real
Well, just
old
because it
school.
started
No,
it off.
yeah,
and
it
you
did.
can't. I mean, we're not taking away from that by any
Yeah,
means,
no,
but-
because that did, like you said, that starts the whole.
So
There's
is
something-
that one just a like a mulligan, like just a gimme? And so
Well, I think Rogue One ties so well into. I mean, it's almost like
It's
one
almost like
giant
one movie.
It is
Yeah,
almost
it's
like
one-
one
it
giant
almost
movie.
like
That's what I
elongates-
like.
it almost
That's what I liked
elongates New
about
Hope.
it.
Yeah.
It made New Hope more understandable.
Right.
Okay.
So that's why I have Rogue One as my favorite out of
Okay.
all of them.
Which is understandable. Like it. it's an
Because
incredible
it
movie.
surprised the heck out of me at what a good movie it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then my second would be Jedi.
That's
And then
Jackson,
Solo.
that was-
Solo's third for me. It's
Wow.
come up.
Solo.
Yeah.
I like Solo.
Ooh, yeah.
I watched it
We're
again
gonna-
this
we're
past
gonna bring
week.
that up,
It's
yeah.
it's a good
Yeah.
movie.
It's
I like
really
it a
good.
lot.
I liked it a lot.
I was a fan.
So let's bring up. Well, I don't know. Are we done talking about why these are our
if,
top
you, if you're
favorites?
gonna talk about the sequels, we're not done.
No, I was talking about are we done talking about our favorites? Like,
Yes.
Well, I guess Patty's doesn't count because it is one of her favorites.
Yeah,
so.
she doesn't count.
So Solo's in. But now that we're talking about it, Solo. Rick, you said you loved it. I loved it. I loved it a lot. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. Like, I went into it like thinking, this is gonna be garbage. This guy is not Han Solo. He's not Harrison Ford. I thought it was gonna be garbage.
Oh, you guys gotta let that go.
I wanted to. That's why I said I went into it with that attitude. But I was
But
just.
you did let it go.
I
Right.
You
easily,
enjoyed
and it was more easily than expected. Like I was like,
Did you buy the DVD? Well, Blu-ray.
yes, yes. I actually just bought a digital copy because
Cheater.
I'm going to buy it. It was easier. I wanted to watch it immediately. Like the second it came out, I was like, I need to watch it.
Digital's the way to go anyway. I buy the DVDs and I input the digital code or Blu-rays,
Yeah.
and I'm too lazy to put the Blu-ray in.
Oh, you just watch.
So I just go watch it on my account anyway.
That's
So I watch the
funny.
digital one anyway. So
But with those movies, you need all the behind the scenes, all the special features. And all
well, that all
They
comes
have
digital
digital.
now.
Oh,
Yeah, they have it now. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
See, I don't
Yeah,
know.
everything
because we've
comes
never
in
used
digital.
it.
So,
You know, a certain age, you don't know those things.
you're
Yes,
still on your
grandfather.
you're still in your picture phone.
Hey, speaking of, I'm eligible for $4 matinee movies
Oh
now.
my God.
Oh,
I
there
just
you
saw
go.
that. Yeah.
Wow.
Awesome. Can
Oh,
you bring it
you're all
all
set
Senior.
when episode
When
9
episode
comes
9
out.
comes
I'm a
out,
senior.
you'll be good to go.
Yeah. See,
You go see
Oh
it.
my gosh.
Episode 9.
Yeah.
benefits
That's
to
ending
getting
it,
old.
right?
Huh?
Episode 9 is ending it all.
Supposedly.
Well,
And
Yeah,
then they're
who
gonna
knows? Who
do
knows what
trilogies.
I think
with
they're going
new
to. Yeah.
characters.
I mean, I don't know. I think that's going to end the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they'll probably continue on from there. With
Oh, they're
some
gonna-
of Rey and
yeah.
those- yeah, with Rey.
they'll make another trilogy of something, but
They
I
gotta
think
make.
it's hard though to bring those characters back when they're part of that saga. You know what I mean? They
Right.
already linked them in.
Right.
Yeah, they ain't gonna be able to shake the space ghost.
did you read about the Boba Fett movie? They just, I guess Kathleen Kennedy just said they were shelving like a bunch of
Right.
side story,
Mhm.
Boba Fett being one of them.
Yeah, because who is it?
The tabling.
Right, because I don't know, one of the higher ups.
Eisner, I think.
Yeah, he said he goes I take full responsibility for trying to get these out too quick. We need to be slower
Was
to
that
make
the
sure that the
full,
quality comes out more. But they're still planning all this other stuff. I mean, they've still got the new trilogy from I don't know who that you guys are so good with people in the movies. Who's that? Is it the guy from Game of Thrones or who's doing the trilogy that isn't even associated with this?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
He's got a trilogy coming out. They've got the stuff planned for TV that they're still working on. So they're still pumping out stuff. It's just not going to be every year probably.
Well, no, that's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
But they're gonna have to make a Fett movie.
I
at
can't
some
believe
point.
that they have. I'm surprised they didn't do that with Solo. I think that was the only mistake they made in Solo.
Yeah,
They had
they could have
Yeah,
incorporated.
yeah, they had the Mandalorian armor in the background,
Yeah,
but they
it's
should
like a
have.
little tease.
They should have had, even if he just did a flyby or walk by or
It could have
something.
been easy at
The
the
He
slave
could
end.
have been a
one out
member
the
of the
window.
red. He could have been a member of the red. Like he could have been in that bar. Like he could have been walking through. He didn't have to even
Right.
be a part of it.
Right.
Anything would have made
A
people
shoulder
go.
bump would have been cool.
Yeah, see,
in the
that would have
bar.
made anything
Walking
like that
through.
would have made people go nuts.
Go
you know?
nuts. And
Yeah.
then, yeah.
Hey,
and then
watch
Solo
it.
probably
You
would
know,
have.
like that would have been. And he has his eyes
Easy,
down.
Mike.
I
Yeah.
got my eyes on
And
you.
he has his eyes down, you know, because he
You're
told
not
him not
gonna
to
be
look
dead.
at anybody. And you're like,
Yeah, really. Do it again, you're going to be dead. That would be great.
That would have been fun.
Man.
No.
So
Whole new
I
movie.
do know from the news that is it Kathleen? Is that her name?
Kathleen Kennedy.
Kennedy. We won't be alive to see the final Star Wars movies.
What?
They're gonna keep them going.
They're gonna
They
kill
just-
us?
No, it's just like they're gonna just continue to go on until we're gone, and they'll just keep
Oh, I'm sure there's
grinding out new stories from that universe.
Well, yeah, they're.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, there were fans in 1977 who are dead now, and they're.
Yeah, this
okay.
got dark
Well, that's
quick.
the article. Okay, that's
Wow.
what it says. Jeez.
why would you
All
say
you
something
Star
like
Wars
that?
fans, guess what? It doesn't matter how long you live because we're going to live on.
We're gonna outlive you.
That's what it says.
It's gonna be a
It
long,
says you
long,
won't
long,
live to see the
long,
final Star Wars movie.
Tell
That's
Kathleen
what it
to
is.
shut
That,
up.
think
Move
about
fucking
that
mouth.
headline for
Yeah.
a second. You won't live to see the final Star
Yeah,
Wars.
jeez.
The Force will
Like, doesn't
be
it come out next year? What's
Force will
going
not.
on?
forever. The
Yeah.
forever
What do we
franchise.
say? Banta Poodoo.
Kathleen,
Which was always.
Jeez.
The Force
Kathleen,
will be
shut
with
your
us
That's
always.
a
Here, move milk.
They
Nice
put
way to
this on
put
the
it.
internet.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, Frankie.
There's no
Oh my goodness.
Freudian slip there, was there?
Almost.
Crazy.
I stopped it.
You guys.
Sorry, side conversation.
So,
That's all right. We've reached a lull, so that means it's segue time.
Is it? I was gonna say, is it?
We don't have to be afraid of silence. It's all right.
Silence is good.
Silence is gold.
After Frank's last comment,
I'm gonna
I was
talk-
just letting it sink in.
Oh.
I was just letting it sink in for a second.
well,
What do you want to talk about?
We can
Frank?
just fill the.
I want to talk about the new animated sequences.
Yeah, what's
that are
going on
coming
with
out.
that?
What new animated sequence?
Didn't you just say that aren't they reopening?
I said nothing of the sort.
Shows?
No, we talked about it before. We talked about oh my gosh, it's like about the original trilogy. I mean, the episodes 1 through 3. Aren't they reopening Clone Wars again?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they're
Like,
starting
isn't that
rebooting
animated?
Clone
Isn't
Wars.
that
Yeah,
animated?
yeah.
Yeah.
They're
But there's also-
continuing it on or starting it over?
That's what I wanted
I
to
think
talk
they're.
about.
I think they're.
It just got renewed,
carrying
right?
it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was canceled and then it got renewed.
Right. They just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're just carrying on where they're
That's what I wanted to get
And
to.
then this
because
is-
I didn't know that.
The last.
Yeah, they
Is
announced
this
it
the
at
last
Comic-Con.
season of Rebels, or is that
I think Rebels was done.
was done?
Like last.
See, I never watched Rebels. I need to get into that.
Rebels was a
I thought
good
that
show.
Yeah. I heard that was good.
It was a good show.
Is there any live action shows?
Well,
There's
there's
rumor of a
rumor
live
of some
action show.
live action shows, and there's also some rumors of some other animated shows that are
Isn't
coming
there one
out.
called Forces of Destiny? That's
It is, and I watched some of that.
yeah.
And it's
Isn't
it's
that
like
the
on
female-centric?
Disney DX or something like that.
Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Oh,
what it
you're
is.
gonna
It's
have to
very-
subscribe to the Disney.
Oh,
Streaming.
yeah, the
channels
Disney.
to get
All,
this.
any of the new content that's going to be like TV related, it's going to be on the Disney streaming thing. So once that comes out, then they'll probably give us more information about that. And
Yeah.
another streaming.
Or just buy the discs
Mm-hmm.
or the digital.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it was back to the was it Destinies you were talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Forces
Forces
of
of
Forces
Destiny.
of Destiny. I watched it and it is very female empowered, but
It
I
goes
felt-
along with the figures, doesn't it?
yeah, but that's why I felt like it was more of like a toy sale than
Mhm.
I did that actually linked
It
to
might
Star
be.
Wars.
Yeah, I think it's more
Yeah,
for
like
the-
a marketing-
that's
It
what
was
it's-
more of a marketing gimmick. I felt like
Okay.
than anything because I recorded a few of them and I was like, I mean, it's cool, but it's really just I felt like it was a giant commercial.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you didn't feel that way with the other animated Star Wars.
No, but I also didn't feel that it was necessary. Like the one thing that I did like was I don't know if you guys know, like, you guys ever watched Samurai Jack?
No.
I've seen it before, but I haven't watched it religiously.
Well-
like 1 or 2 episodes.
They did a Clone Wars micro series before episode 3 came out.
That was really cool. That series.
Oh,
The micro series?
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
really cool.
That could have
It
been
was a different
amazingly-
style of animation.
Yes,
Right? Yeah.
yes.
That was
That
a
would have
good
been
series.
an unbelievable movie or any
Mhm.
animated because they showed Grievous just
Yeah,
being
that's
such a
kinda like-
BA and like
That was almost like the Boba Fett thing. That's the first time you saw Grievous was in this,
right.
and he wasn't a wheezing, coughing.
He was
Okay.
unbelievable. He was
Smooth.
he was such a badass character. It was unbelievable.
It's like,
Huh.
he's like part Velociraptor.
Yeah, it was
He
amazing.
would
It
have
was
been a
such a
smoker.
cool. Which I thought, like, again, that was the coolest thing I saw about the Clone Wars. Like, I was like, yes. And so when they said Clone Wars is coming out, I was like, yes, this is gonna be amazing. And then it was just this slow paced thing with filler droid episodes and like a Padme episode here and there, and then sometimes they have a Yoda
Well, that
episode.
really irked you.
No.
Yeah.
It did, like, because I spent a lot of time watching these things. Like, I'm like, everyone's like talking about how great it is, and I was
Disney
watching it,
episode.
and like, there was no payoff. Like, I was just waiting for it, and then it was just like,
You gotta think of the audience they're gearing though.
Also true, also true,
They're
but-
gearing
But
those
they're
to
not.
9-year-old.
But they're not
but
kids
some of them were
shows.
dark.
And Rebels, which you'd think. Sorry, we missed your joke because we're discussing the topic. But
The joke is related to the topic.
We'll pick it up later.
I'll hear it when I'll hear it. So, anyways, but they're not. That's kind of what I was a little bit. As a 50-year-old man, a little bit embarrassed to be watching a Disney,
Yeah.
animated show. But they're really not kid shows. They got,
No.
Rebels went dark.
Yeah.
I heard
And
that.
good.
I heard that.
Yeah,
I watched
it was-
most of the first season, and then I stopped what was it? I forgot. I wasn't paying for DVR, so we stopped DVR for a while, and then I didn't get it recorded. And then once we started recording again, I'm like, I missed too many episodes. I want to watch them first. And then they never came around again, so I never watched the rest of the series.
Was it when we were at Celebration last year that they premiered the new season of Rebels? Remember there was some big premiere related to that.
Because you guys
And
posted something.
I was shocked at the fan fervor over it because I knew he watched it, and I knew his friend Dale, I think, watched it, and another couple people we knew watched it, but I didn't realize it was such a
People
big
go
thing.
nuts, man, for almost
Yeah.
everything.
They eat
They eat it
anything
all
up.
up, yeah.
And then the Lego Star Wars shows.
I love those. Those are
Oh,
hilarious.
those are
So
awesome.
funny.
They're
so entertaining.
They're so
Really
funny.
fun.
Anything
Yeah.
Lego does, though. I
Yeah.
mean,
So that's entertaining
That's
and brilliant.
Yeah.
the video games. I love the
Lego.
Lego
Yes.
Star Wars video games. They're hilarious.
Oh, we
Collecting
played.
all
We
the
were
figs.
playing one of the ones I think that you gave us
Yeah.
somewhat recently. Remember, we
Yeah.
just had
Yeah,
a.
they're
That's
so
for the
funny.
Xbox.
Mhm.
They're just so repetitive gameplay wise, yeah?
Yeah, but that's why I like it, because it's easy.
Speaking
It's always frustrating. I don't want to
Yeah.
break the controller. I don't want to throw it at it. It's like, oh, I can do this.
of Star Wars video games, computer games, did you guys ever play the flight simulators, the
No.
combat simulators, X-Wing and TIE Fighter? Those were great games.
I heard they were
Killer
pretty
games.
incredible.
Yeah.
They were on like 4 floppy disks. Like
Oh
the-
my gosh, that's hilarious.
No, but
I'm explaining what floppy disk is to her.
yeah.
Now
Look
what
at
you're
it.
thinking, kids.
Google, look it up.
No, don't.
Don't
Careful,
Google
yeah,
floppy.
don't Google, yeah.
Oh
sure
yeah,
you
you
spell
might
it
want
right.
to. That's it. That's right.
But
Man, today's world is so corrupt.
those games were a lot of fun. There haven't been a lot of great Star Wars games. I mean, at least not in the past.
What
you
about
know.
what's the one that everyone goes crazy over? You guys
Battlefront?
Yeah, Battlefront. Wasn't
Yeah, the first one was.
that? Nate's like,
I wasn't a fan.
I like
Did
it,
you
but I
play
was
the new
terrible
one?
at it.
No, I didn't like the first one because I'm not a big online playing.
No,
person.
and that was
I'm
the
a story.
This
person.
was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
second
this-
one's story.
the flaw with the first one was that it had great gameplay and it was a lot of fun, great graphics, but you had to go online to really do anything other than just little skirmish, bot battles.
Yeah.
But in the new one, it's got a really good campaign. The graphics are unbelievable. The gameplay is
Check it
fun.
out
It's,
now.
it's a good game. But
Yeah.
I mean, kind of like past, video in the realm of Star Wars video games, there haven't been a ton of great
No.
ones.
I like
Nintendo
Force
64.
Unleashed.
Force Unleashed, I was a big fan of.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
I love the storyline, and it was easy gameplay. Like, I mean, you got to
Which
run
one?
around.
Force
Force
Unleashed?
Unleashed.
What's that for?
They
They
had
had
it for all
a-
platforms, but you were Vader's apprentice,
Apprentice.
Oh, okay.
and you had to fight your way through different Jedis and Siths.
I
And
mean,
all
you
that.
started out on
Cool.
Kashyyyk killing Wookiees as Vader.
Yeah.
Like, it was
Wow, that's
right away
fun.
you're just like,
That's
oh my
very
God.
dark.
Yeah.
It was, but I mean, it was just like, oh my god, and like, especially on the Wii, you got to swing your remote and
Oh God.
have the
Hack the
lightsaber.
Wookiee
and-
head off.
there was no hacking. You just hit the guy and he's down. It wasn't like.
I still have the Nintendo 64 Star Wars one.
Oh, yeah?
Nintendo 64.
Oh
that
yeah.
was fun.
Yeah.
It was
that
pretty
fun,
easy
too.
to
Which
play.
one? There were a
It's
few.
like a side. It was like a side scroll.
Shadows of the Empire.
That was cool.
I
That was
think
a
it's
good book,
64, I don't think.
Nintendo 64 I don't think was a side
The
scroll.
side scroll.
This one, like, you could actually go and take down the
Oh, I
AT-ATs.
remember what you're talking about.
You wrap it and you fly around it and
And
take them down.
Oh,
And
that's
it was cool. It was fun.
Well, then I take it back. There were a lot of good
Yeah,
games.
there was some really good. I guess when you think about it, you know, you didn't.
Well,
I
it's
mean, I'm
just
sure
so
there's some
bad.
bad ones.
But the
I'm
Star
sure
Wars,
there's some.
yeah,
My
well, with any
favorite
movie.
is Masters of Terrascope.
Nobody asked you.
Oh.
That's one of my favorites.
Yes. Did anybody play Masters of Terrascasi?
No,
That was a PlayStation game. That's
Okay.
actually the reason.
I did not
That,
I've never heard about that.
that game's the reason we bought the first PlayStation.
Oh, I think
You can play as Boba Fett. It's like a fighting game.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
I have one of the. I think it's called Bounty Hunters for the Nintendo GameCube.
GameCube.
I
Yeah.
think I have
Django
that one.
on the
Plays
cover.
Django.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I have
That was a fun game.
Age of the Old Republic or something like that. One of those. I think it's for the original Xbox.
Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. Knights of the
Has it
Old
got the
Republic.
two on the cover? That
I believe so. Yeah,
I think there was actually a few Knights of the Old Republic.
could be.
I think there was a few in that series.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure.
Well, then why'd you bring it up?
Holy cow!
Well, I'm just bringing up topics of conversation for other
Oh, my
comments on.
goodness.
Maybe we'll have a giveaway.
Oh yes, because that's
This lovely
fun.
lightsaber right
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Not that one.
We didn't bring any battle axes, but we still got some lightsabers around.
You want to wrap?
I don't know. I was just gonna say, should we stop and check time? What's time like for?
We should probably get to our versus
Oh yeah.
segment.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
been-
we can
it's
always
been too long.
revisit Star Wars down the road and
Yeah.
touch on topics that we didn't get to today.
All right. So you guys
Thank
ready for
goodness.
the versus?
So we don't touch on the
Let's
topic
do
that
it.
you want to
Let's
touch
do
on.
it. Let's do it.
Huh?
Versus.
Actually, why don't we do the verses with the lightsabers?
This is when you know that it's time to move on.
Time to
ready?
wrap.
All right, so why don't we wrap this up? Do you guys have any final thoughts on anything that we've discussed Star Wars wise? There's a ton that we missed. We can always come back to it at some point, but
I think we're just
any
gonna,
final thoughts on the Force? And
I think we're just gonna have to come back to it. There's just so much more that I'm sure people want to discuss about
Yeah.
the newer movies and the older movies and
I don't want to get into the. As soon as we mentioned the new movies, and Rob was kind of like,
yeah,
we got to see what that.
As long as
what
we
that
don't
angst
bring
is
up.
all
He's a
about.
yeah. And then we gotta get into that.
Yeah, no, there's so much here to talk about. There's so, you know, we
There is.
didn't really talk too much about toys or, you know,
Right.
there are so many facets of this thing. I'm just, you know, what I said originally, what would the world, did I say? No.
That would be a good topic we can
Yeah.
we can revisit.
What would the world have been like without those first three movies?
Right, if
Yeah.
episode 1 would have actually come out at that time,
Would it be as popular?
Would it?
You'd have Back to the Future figures instead.
Battlestar Galactica would have been
Yeah.
even bigger.
Star Trek would have been king.
All right, well, we're gonna wrap this up with our versus segment. So many different characters versus characters, weapon, anything. But here's what I thought of. We'll see if this goes anywhere. Because one of the things that I loved about the movies, and I think I mentioned at the beginning, was all of the different techniques that they used in the old movies. You know, you had miniatures, you had these immense dioramas that they used, the models, all that stuff, all those practical effects. Compared to the movies now, which I still enjoyed. I mean, Rogue One is still one of my top movies, but I think they use a lot of practical effects in that one too on purpose. But in Solo, so the versus question is, you know, do you prefer those practical effects of the original movies versus the slick CGI effects of the newer movies?
I'm going to stay out of this one because I've made my opinion known on this
People,
topic.
well, you can let other people go first.
Oh,
but I
that
think-
was
Might be their first time watching.
Yeah.
Maybe other people haven't listened to
Right,
other
they haven't learned other
How
yet.
could they
Because
miss
you've
those
touched on it in
facts?
other podcasts.
I will take a man in a suit over pixels any day. You know, I feel like
Can I quote you on that?
I should
so
say.
many different ways.
Let me rephrase
We
myself.
have a soundbite.
Ready? And
I
rewind.
would prefer a human being in a suit to
If
pixels
you ever run for
And not-
office,
and
that
not-
clip's
yeah.
going to be used
and
against
not a
you.
rubber suit.
I know what you need. I get what you're saying.
I'd prefer the practical.
The practical.
You know, now when you watch a making of, like, remember when do you remember seeing the making of Star
Oh,
Wars?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And you're like,
just as interesting
Wow,
as the
they
movie.
look how they did that, and these guys painting these huge, immense
Yeah,
paintings that just stay in the background, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, now you watch a making of, and everybody's on a green screen, and this is how we made. Well, we know how you made it.
With all those dots on
Right.
their faces.
There's no mystery there. We know how you made the movie. It was computers.
I have to agree with you though. That's I think what's so endearing about these movies, and we touched on it in the fantasy movies too. You know, as cheesy as they were, but those practical effects, there's something about them, and someone using and engineering all that and using their creativity. I don't know. I would go for the practical effects over slick as well.
I'm right down the middle. I think,
Man, you can never take a side.
I'm sorry. I think a healthy dose of both is
Captain Indecisive.
usually
It's
yes.
a waffler.
Yes.
The waffle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, think about it. Like, when, let's see, when Force Awakens came out, they used a lot of practical effects in there, like with the characters and the puppets and all that stuff. I thought that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but for my space scenes and the space battle scenes, like, I feel like it does it justice with the CGI. Like, Do I miss the other ones? Yes, but I think they're doing it a lot of justice with those things. And again, with the backgrounds and stuff, yeah, there's some CGI things, and they do have the green screens. But like, I felt like when Abrams made that movie, like this is just my argument for that movie alone. But he brought so many puppets and just wanted to recapture that magic, and I thought he did an amazing job, especially bringing like Jim Henson's studios back into like designing some of the puppets.
Yeah, no, valid point.
Things out there, especially like the Maz Kanata Cantina scene. When you see that big, like Bosk-looking character with a giant tusk coming out, just sitting there, and you can tell like he's like not CGI, and they actually made him, and he's a giant Muppet, and just some of the characters in there, they were all that, like you guys were saying, like it was neat.
Versus the casino scene from...
Right, that was garbage. It was just garbage.
CGI, I would think.
But they actually had some puppets in there, but it wasn't as many, you know.
Up in front of a green screen.
Yes,
Right.
yes. Well, I mean, they did it in the other movie too, but I think a healthy dose of both. There's got to be some kind of marriage between those two to make it feel like those old Star Wars movies. But
I just think practical is what Star Wars is. If you made Star Wars today, I don't think using the CGI, I don't think it would be what it is.
It wouldn't be as magical.
No, it's not, because that's what was great. It was so far ahead of its time. You know, with the story and then the effects. Because I mean, like I said earlier in the episode, I mean, there's movies that came out after that had horrible looking effects.
Right. Yeah.
You know, these came out 7 years later. That, you know, so I think practical for Star Wars itself is, I think that would be the best way.
All right.
Just to touch on another thing, you know, George Lucas, when he made those, say the first one, then he revisited it again later when he could add digital effects. What do you think about that?
I was excited to see, like, I like some of the things that they do, but now when I look at it now, it
takes it away.
It does.
It's not the same movie.
It's not the same.
It's like, that's the thing.
What do you take it away?
Leave it alone.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't need to
show a Jawa falling off that creature.
Right. It's a Ronto, by the way.
Or show me
that's
right,
a Ronto.
At the end
Thank you.
You know what I mean? I don't
Hey, how many Ewok names do you know?
Paplu.
Oh, see?
So you don't need those.
Low grade.
You don't need that all that technology to make a great movie, obviously.
Yeah, that's I agree with you.
You want a button for every
No, I was just
give me your
flying my flag, my nerd flag.
So
no, you're right though. I mean, for sure.
And then when he went back and made, I think it was Attack of the Clones. Is that the one with the opening scene where Anakin? No.
that was the third one.
Where it's this huge space battle where it opens up.
That's Revenge of the Sith.
That was the third one.
That was ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's like they feel like just because you can do anything, you may as well. I can put 1,000 ships on the screen, all firing lasers at each other, and you know, you don't know where to look with something like that.
You're opening a whole different
You are.
Going back to those episodes 1, 2, and 3. That's like a whole other podcast.
I really
We'll talk about those
Yes.
later. People want to go to bed right now.
There's no Clone Wars actual armor. That was all CGI.
And for the
Every
next
single
show,
clone.
So they were naked?
No, they just wore bodysuits. They wore their bodysuits with ping pong balls.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, there's not one.
There's not
no.
a single real.
That.
It is.
Seriously,
I read it a few times, and I was
Wow.
like, because I didn't believe it, and I looked it up. I was like, whoa.
And you have in Star Wars like those legions of stormtroopers. Those were matte paintings probably. They had like 20 dudes, and then beyond that, they were.
They had a lot of them. You could see the stacks of helmets when they were first created them. Like that's why they made them like that, so they could stack them on top of each other.
Yeah.
And so the bottom so wide is because they couldn't find a way to store them all. They said.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, we will revisit Star Wars.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll have to.
Obviously,
We'll have
there's
to.
more to talk about.
For sure.
Frank, was there something else you wanted to show us or no?
I did bring something that I wanted to show you.
Just
It's
realized
one thing that one of our members here doesn't have.
Aww.
Ah.
But,
Where's the trumpet
just
sound?
to make him a little jealous here.
Wow.
Thank you, Rick.
2 trumpet sounds.
Wow.
But yeah, this is the. Do I have a bag right here?
Slave 1.
The Slave 1. So it's 2 scale to the minifigs.
It's the Lego set for those of you.
It is a
listening.
Lego set. It is
75060.
1,996 pieces. So
Wow,
that's
1,000.
really big and it's heavy as hell.
Yeah,
And
it's
how
very
long?
impressive.
How long have you had this?
About 2 years.
Oh man, I
What are
can't
you laughing about,
me?
Nate? It's big and heavy as hell.
Yeah, it's like
very
very
impressive.
yeah.
That is the collector series.
But
Boba
I
Fett one.
had to show it to our friend Robert over here. I think that's one of the only Boba Fett pieces
Yeah,
he
I definitely do not have
does
that.
not have.
That would make
Patricia,
an
Christmas.
excellent daily Fett.
Oh, that would, yeah. Well, you'd have to own it first, though.
That's right. I'll have to
And
give it
build
to
it.
me.
And don't forget Cloud City's coming out,
450
so
bucks, I
you know,
think
keep
is what
that on
Yeah,
his
something
Christmas
around
list
there.
as well.
That's right. Oh,
Cloud
yeah,
City.
Cloud City. That's a cool set.
That's an amazing set. If
Check
you
it
haven't
out.
seen that, check it out on Lego. Cloud City is coming out. This is the second time they're doing Cloud City.
Wow.
it's really
Rick
good.
can't speak anymore. It's been such a long
I know.
podcast.
It's like, holy cow.
All right.
All right, well, we're going to wrap this up. We thank you guys always for joining us. We
Yeah.
appreciate any of the likes and any of the subscriptions. Please share what we're doing here if you enjoy it. Give us comments. Let us know what you want us to hear, what you want us to talk about. Don't forget to check us out Podbean, Google Play, and Spotify.
And YouTube.
And then we have the YouTube channel. Yep. So make sure that you can
Awesome.
You can see
See
what we
our-
look like.
see our smiling faces and all the wonderful toys that we show.
But you
On
might want to
YouTube.
just listen to podcasting.
Yeah. If you don't want to see us, then
We all have
you got 3 options for just listening to us.
We have, as they say, a face for radio.
Some of us. I'm not bad.
All right.
All right, gentlemen.
That's enough.
All right. So thank you again. We are VTS, and VTS is
Out.
Ouch.
That tickles.